Good shot. Oh my!
You can celebrate Georgetown! The Georgetown Raiders are Buckland Cup champions!
The Trenton Golden Hawks, the R.W. Cup champions, are going to Coburg.
Back to Minerva. Shot scores! And the Coburg Cougars are the Royal Bank Cup champions!
Evans bumping, they score! Frank Poche, the game winner, and the Buckland Cup winner!
Well, the battle for a playoff spot continues to intensify. Several squads had key matchups last week as they continue to jockey for a playoff berth. More coming up in just a moment. This is the OJ Today. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Alex Bastiavansky. Well, this week, OJ broadcaster Alex Bloomfield joins me via Skype to try to make sense of what's been happening in the North Division as the Aurora Tigers continue to struggle, while Markham and Newmarket have made significant gains, and Pickering has brought itself right back into the playoff picture. But first, OJ highlights. And a Saturday night saw a rematch of last season's Buckland Cup final, but my, how things can change over the span of a year. Wellington and Georgetown are retooling, and a playoff berth is far from assured for both squads. The end result was a hugely entertaining matchup between two hungry teams. OJ highlights now, brought to you by Hilton Hotels. Hilton, the official hotel of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. Wellington beat Georgetown in an epic 6-game series last April to capture the Buckland Cup. They also dropped the Raiders in their only previous meeting this season. Raiders hit first, Big Mac attack. Matt McJanet breaking the ice, and Georgetown leads 1-0. Wellington gets it back, though. Weird one. Tyson Gilmore banking it in off Jake Payette, the defenseman. It's 1-1, and then it's Killer Jr. once again, bulging the twine. He puts Wellington on top 2-1 after 20 minutes of play. Second frame, once again, Big Mac going to work. McJanet playing the members bounce off the boards, and he's got both Raider goals tied up at 2 apiece. Wellington retakes the lead, though. Shorthanded, Daniel Pineda off the iron and in. Wellington up 3-2, and then Poulin stops the original shot from the point. Keenan Eddy banking it home. Dukes doubled their lead to 4-2. Third frame, cue the Georgetown comeback. Jordan Crocker, what a pass through 2 sets of legs to Bailey Malala, and then 2 minutes later, it's Bailey again, tipping it past Logan Bateman, and the Raiders come all the way back to tie this one up. With 2:30 left, however, the Dukes strike. Great work by Anthony Rinaldi behind the net to Frank Vitucci, and Big V gives Wellington a lead they would not relinquish. They'd add an empty netter to seal the deal. Dukes sweep the season series against Georgetown, taking it 6-4. Okay, the Buzzers hit the road to take on Coburg, and the home squad breaks the ice just $1.37 in. Jack Watson, kind of sloppy. George Miranda makes him pay. 1-0 for Coburg, and then he gives up a monstrous rebound to Jamie Engelbert right on the doorstep. And Coburg is going to punish you every time you give them chances like that. 2-0 at the intermission. It stayed that way until the third. Cougars, numbers on the rush here. Watson makes a great save right there, but Brock Welsh there to finish things off. Double blue do manage to break the goose egg here. Finn Brown, deflection out front, and that beats the keeper. 3-1, but Welsh seals the deal late. His second of the game. Bannister fires it, Welsh tipping it home. 4-1, Coburg taking it as they rack up 2 crucial points in their bid to stay on top in the East Division. Okay, a North Division battle. Markham hot in the heels of the Tigers for first place. Tigers have struggled big time lately, but they get out to a great start. Bucko 6 in. Joe Mitzi past Andrew Albano. 1-0 Tigers. 12 minutes later, Peyton Shaley, Dipsy Doodle up front, rips it past Albano, and it's 2-0 for Aurora, looking good. And in the second period, big saves by Luca Durante here.
Junta now has it, leaves it up. Here's a chance on front shot. Nice save, rebound. Oh, what a save! Somebody call a cop! Durante just robbed him. What you did?
2 monster stops by Durante, but that's when the Cats fell apart. Nick Junta rips it past him to cut the Royals' deficit in half. 4 minutes after that, Matthew Couto calling for it out front here. gets it and knots it up at 2 apiece heading into the third period of play, and this is just so hard to swallow for the Tigers. 21 seconds left. Zach Sirota shovels it past Durante. Unreal. And with those 2 points, the Royals moved into a tie with Aurora for first in the North. Keep in mind, first week of December, the Tigers had a 13-point lead. OJ Commitments this week brought to you by Warrior Hockey. Warrior, official partner of the OJHL Game of the Week and the OJ Today. And Ross Krieger commits to the U of T Blues for next season. Now, Ross, 39 points in 43 games for the Rangers. That places him second in team scoring. 17 of those points are goals, by the way. Alternate captain on the team. He's been a rock star for North York this year. Congratulations, Ross, on your commitment. Well deserved. And the OJ Trivia this week brought to you by Cool Sports. Cool, official apparel provider to the OJHL. And this week's question, who was the OJHL leading scorer for 2017-18? Pretty straightforward. First correct answer to our Morocco at the OJHL.ca wins a cool OJ prize pack. This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar, the official energy bar of the OJHL. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. Well, there was a huge divisional battle taking place last Sunday in Whitby as Trenton was in town. The squads were divided by just a single point, and both were within striking distance of Cobourg for top spot in the East. There's been so little separating these teams all year long, and that trend continued in this key matchup. There hasn't been much to choose from between these teams all year. It's been a vicious battle out East, and the home squad hits first late in the opening frame. Noah Dallo past Benjamin Allard Robitaille, and it's a 1-0 for the Whitby Fury. Second period was all Jayhawks, though. First, it's Cameron Gaylor stopping and popping it past Luke Pearson. Ties it up at 1 apiece. A minute 40 later, scramble that seems to go on forever in front of Pearson. Finally, Jeff Lindsay just kind of pokes it in. Hawks on top 2-1. Fury throwing the body around, though. Isaac Suklo laying out Tiger McDonald along the boards. Third period, Whitby comes close. The net comes off, though, to freeze the play. And ouch, Trenton holds on to take the huge matchup, dropping the Fury on the road by a 2-1 count. Okay, North York, leaders of the South at Westwood to take on the Patriots. This was an upset. We pick it up with the Pats leading 1-0. Tyler Flack heading to the net, tipping it home past Mario Pescia, and it was all tied up 1-1. Tio clicking in the first, though. Power play, Chris Pappas to Zach Lawrence out front. 2-1. For the Patriots, and then watch the soft hands on Jackson Alexiev. Oh, beats Jet Alexander, top shelf, 3-1 at the break. Second period, however, virtually all North York. The puck takes a funny little redirection here. Jonathan Hampton gets credit. Rangers back within 1, and then sweet passing here. Daniil Kuzman across to Dante Fantuzzi, going hard to the net, and good things happen when you go hard to the net. They were all tied up once again, 3-3. 4 minutes later, North York 2-on-1 sets up here, and Adam Panacci elects just to keep it all himself, and it pays off as he makes it 4-3 for North York. But Pats would respond, almost a carbon copy going the other way now, 2-on-1. Dirk Static keeps it himself. He rips it past Jet. All tied up, 4-4 at the intermission with just under 5 minutes left in the third. Another 2-on-1. Zach Lawrence, the winner. And that is a massive win for the Pats, who take down the nationally ranked Rangers. They would add an empty netter to make it a 6-4 final. Well, if you judge them by their recent history, the Brantford 99ers have really had a lot to be proud of this year. With 14 wins thus far, the franchise has already surpassed their entire total from the previous 3 seasons combined. They're right in the thick of the battle in the Northwest to try and nab that coveted crossover playoff spot. So 2 points against Brampton on Saturday was essential. This game had a bit of everything, including high drama at the end, so stick around. 99ers draw first blood, just a $1.08 in. Trevor LeDunn from the point, nice shot past Matthew Lukic, and it's a 1-zip for Brantford. Back and forth they went pretty much all game long. Rocco Andriacci going to the rush, going hard to the net. Money ties it up at 1 apiece. Second period, Brantford retakes the lead. Ryan Zarowski doesn't look like he gets a ton on that, but it's enough, and Dr. Z makes it 2-1 99ers. 4 minutes later, however, Admirals 2-on-1. Brantford seriously was getting killed by the odd man rushes in this game. Sebastian Bulovs makes it 2-2. Just a minute 20 later, though, one that Lukic would love to have back. Luis Lada from an abysmal angle just dribbles it through. 3-2 Brantford. But once again, Brampton responds. Vincent Buonaiuto parks himself out front. Good move as he makes it 3-3 after 40 minutes of play. Late in the third now, Lucas Crawford cuts to the middle, and just take a look at this wrist shot. Absolutely rocks the bottle right there. Brantford back in the lead, up 4-3. Now, here's the drama. Dying seconds, Brampton on the attack. The puck goes in, but the officials say that was off. So no goal, but they call a penalty shot saying Joe Merduka did it on purpose. So it's Andriacci and Merduka for all the marbles. Clutch save by the keeper, though, and that was the difference as the boys from the Telephone City hold on to top the Admirals 4-3 in a crazy divisional tilt. Okay, alumni update this week brought to you by Troy Hockey. Troy, the official jersey of the Ontario Junior Hockey League, and a couple players to tell you about. Nathan Perry, goaltender from previously Kingston and Cobourg, now with Fayetteville in the SPHL, was named SPHL Player of the Week. And Josh LeBlanc from Kingston previously with Oswego State, named Suniac Player of the Week. And a reminder, the Scotiabank Fan Favorite Award. Voting has started. It's been a league tradition since 2011-12, just gets more popular each and every year. Here's the top 5 in alphabetical order, so no particular order for actual voting. Ryan Bazana, Matthew Bumstead, Marcelo Pericao, Dershan Stewart, and Brandon Yeamans from North York. And head to ojhl.ca to place your vote. One player will win the overall title, obviously, but in a twist this year, there will be one favorite for each of the 22 OJHL teams as well. Last season, broke all kinds of records for the voting. It was great. Game of the week, a reminder, next game, the 26th, North York and the Canadians. Great slate of matchups, though. Burlington at Oakville, Kingston at Wellington, Pickering at Aurora, and Trenton at Cobourg to finish things up on the 23rd of February. This week's OJ interview brought to you by Barnburner Hockey. Barnburner, official partner of the OJHL Game of the Week and the OJ Today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today, and I'm pleased to be joined now by my partner in crime on the CHCH Game of the Week broadcast, Alex Bloomfield. On again this year. Alex, I hope you had a great holiday, buddy. Thanks so much for joining me once again.
I did. It's fantastic. And yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to the end of the month.
Of course, you are the play-by-play man for the Pickering Panthers, who happen to be in the North Division. We're touching on the North today because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, from Pickering making a playoff push to Aurora at the top. Well, was at the top. We're going to start with the Tigers right now because for a while it looked like they were going to win the division in a walk this year. A huge lead for most of the season. But they've had a tough time lately. Markham and Newmarket are right there with them now. So let's start with the Tigers. In your eyes, what's been going on with them?
Yeah, real tough to ascertain, I think, for them. Honestly, for the Tigers, I wonder if it was just a bit of a facade that we saw at the beginning. I mean, it was smoke and mirrors a little bit coming out of the gate. They came out really, really hot, and they just came down to earth and then got in a funk, one of those Christmas time funks, and they're trying to pull out of it, and they're having some trouble here into the new year. They lost 3 of 13 at least at one point in early January. I don't think it's any one thing per se. Still have an issue on the back end really for them. So I think there's the holes that were there at the beginning of the season just took some time to develop. They've come back to earth, and I expect them to bounce back a bit. I don't think they're a team that loses 3 out of every 13 games either. So they're coming back to where they should be, which is a mid-tier playoff team, I think.
It's funny, if you look back at the standings, first week of December, 13-point lead over the second-place team, and that, of course, is gone now. So Markham, we'll move to. They've played very well as of late. They're led by the dynamic duo of Braden Aubin and the cool Northwest Player of the Month in Alessio Luciani. How are you liking the Royals down the stretch?
I like them a lot. I do like them to win this division. Obviously very tight down the stretch here, but the Markham Royals have been, I think, the most daunting team to face all year long in the North Division, with the exception maybe of the first month with Aurora. They have that explosive offense, that explosive top line that is probably the best in the OJ, at least the duo, maybe top 2, I guess you could say. But Aubin and Luciani are unreal, and then having Andrew Albano back there between the pipes has really solidified the back end for them. Their defense is still their weak spot if you had to pick one, but this team is the most well-rounded of the 4 top teams in the North, I would say at this point. They score like crazy, 3rd most in the league. So yeah, they're the team I think that's going to come out on top of this heap in the North.
Well, another top pairing is Adam Trotman and Claudio De Gasperis up in Newmarket. They lead the Hurricanes in scoring. A big drop, though, after those two, it must be said, but also an exciting young goaltender in Mitchell Weeks, who's going to head to the OHL Sudbury Wolves next year. What have you seen from Newmarket?
Yeah, I don't know what it is with these Newmarket Hurricanes. They find goaltenders. I mean, Fraser Kirk following up right on the heels of his season last year. Mitchell Weeks and Christian Hufsky, they've played every minute between the pipes for Newmarket. They've been very consistent in goal. That really spells to their low goals against average. They don't score a lot of goals. They've actually scored, I think, the 4th lowest in the OJHL, which is impressive considering their above 500 record. That just shows how good they are defensively. They play a really, really sound defensive system led by Captain Sheldon Nolan. They've been up a very consistent 500 team, and then got above it with a nice 5-game win streak in December. And yeah, they're just hanging around, and I expect them to remain exactly where they are down the stretch and be a tough out in that first round, 2 versus 3 in the North.
It's going to be fascinating watching those 3 teams down the stretch, no question about it. The team you do play-by-play for is Pickering. It's been a roller coaster season, to put it mildly, for the Panthers. They weren't living up to expectations. It looked like they were going to almost certainly have to play a crossover game with the West for that 8th playoff spot. They've been much better lately, though, and they're actually threatening to keep it all to themselves, aren't they, that final playoff spot?
Yeah, that's definitely the race that is concerning them right now for the Pickering Panthers, watching the Georgetowns and the Brantfords and maybe the Bramptons of the world from the West Division, just trying to remain ahead of 5th place. All they have to do is get greater than, and they'll avoid that crossover game. So that's definitely what they're looking at. They're too far behind the top 3, I think, to make any kind of push. They have a tough schedule down the stretch to really have any hope of doing that as well. Lots of road games. And they got a great pickup recently. Ethan Cardwell has addressed exactly what they need as far as a scorer. He's a guy that can purely shoot the puck, which is something they didn't have all season long. They haven't had it since Andrew Hughes left at the end of last season, and that's really filled the hole. Even in the couple games he's played so far, he's scored some big ones, and that should help them, I think, compete in that first round, because this is an open division. Even that 1 versus 4 matchup could be interesting, whether it's the West or Pickering.
Let's move to Stouffville. They're last in the North, but we've been saying all season long, if you sleep on the Spirit, they will burn you. They've got a lot of talent. They recently took down Newmarket. They've dropped Aurora 3 times this year. Just talk about the Spirit and the danger they pose down the stretch playing a spoiler role.
And they've dropped everybody. You said it. They any given night, you look at them, they're down the standings. They've got a little over 20 points. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'll say it right out and out, but they've beaten everybody that's in the playoffs in the North anyway, and a few other teams outside of the North as well. They love playing that spoiler role for some reason. They do it really, really well. You actually look around in this division, I think they're a good example of the whole division. Everyone has beaten their opponent. The only exception is Newmarket has just tied Markham at this point, but everyone else has either beaten and lost to the other opponent within the division. It's a messy division.
It's crazy. We've got about 35 seconds here, Alex, and looking at those top three once again: Aurora, Markham, Newmarket. Who do you see? You mentioned before you really like Markham. Do you see Aurora fading down the stretch? Who's your favorite out of those three?
I do like Markham. I'll stick with Markham down the stretch. They have I think it's in their hands at this point. They have the easiest schedule down the stretch as well. They really only have one tough team above them in the standings. I think they play Trenton. Otherwise, everyone's behind them points-wise or like right there with them, Aurora and Newmarket. So they have that within their grasp. They play lots of times against those teams, and I think they do match up better. They won the most recent matchup against Aurora. They dominated Newmarket all season long. So I do think they're going to hold out. And it doesn't really matter. I think Aurora and Newmarket finished 2-3. As 2 gets home ice, I don't know if I can make a call on that one, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. It's going to be a tight series regardless. Awesome.
Love your analysis, buddy. I will see you on the 26th for that big CHCH game between the Junior Canadians and the Rangers. Thanks for joining me today.
I'll see you there.
All right, more Jay Today coming up in just a moment. Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today. Well, last segment, Alex Bloomfield and I were taking a look at what's been happening in the North Division and to the once enormous lead held by the Aurora Tigers. Now, as a reference point, looking at the standings from the first week of December, the Cats held a comfy 13-point lead over the next closest team. By Friday of last week, as they hit the ice in Oakville to take on the Blades, that lead was gonzo, with both Newmarket and Markham in a dead heat with them. And their nightmare continued against the Blades. The Tigers started this season so well, but it's been tough to watch their slide lately. And the Blades do open the scoring in the second frame, scramble out front. Kyle Potts past Luca Durante. Oakville leading 1-0. One player that hasn't slowed down for Aurora, though, is Joseph Mitzi, still red hot. OJ's leading scorer. Leads keeper Will Barber on a merry little dance there. What hands? Ties it up at 1 apiece. Still in the second, though. Oakville with numbers here. Thomas Maya to Harrison Israel's gorgeous Blades back on top. It's 2-1. Final 20 now. Aurora staying right with them. Barber, the initial stop. Marcus Patterson. He cleans up the garbage. Tie game. Overtime. Looking like a distinct possibility, but with just over 5 minutes left. Look at the backdoor pass for Tanner McEachern. Absolutely clinical those Blades are, and I'll tell you, they're looking pretty much unstoppable at the moment as they hold on to take down the Tigers by a 3-2 count. Aurora trying to bounce back Tuesday night against the Americans. Buffalo in town for a visit, and the Sabres break the ice 12 minutes in. Ty Glover knocking it in off Luca Durante here. The question is, does he call the bank shot? Regardless. 1-0. Final 20 now. Joseph Mitzi goes to work.
Joseph Mizzi now winds it up. I'll change the look. I'll call him Joseph instead of Joe. Joseph Mizzi now goes wide. Mizzi and shot. Scored! Joseph Mizzi, a power play goal. Coast to coast goes the leading goal scorer in the OJ Gel.
Kevin Dean with the call. The joy was short-lived, though, for the Tigers. Alex Cicero rips it past Durante to make it 2-1 Buffalo. The Cats hit back, though. No clue how Cameron Nealon cut that open there. But he dances past Jeremy Foreman to tie it up again. It's 2-2. They would need OT to decide it.
Hornell has it. Hornell dumps it here side. Here's the chance. Backdoor score. Matt Novel on the doorstep. And the Buffalo Junior Sabres win this one in overtime. 3-2.
Aurora just 2 wins in its last 10 now. Ouch. Lindsay in North York to take on the Rangers. This one starts pretty much as one would expect. Rangers hit first. Daniil Kuzmin past Dean Buchholz. 1-0. They add to it in the second. 22 seconds in. Nick Lashak hard to the net. The tip. And Rangers cruising, right? Up 2-0. But Lindsay pushes back. Ryan Callan unmarked at the side of the net here. He cuts the deficit in half to 2-1, and then the puck takes a nasty little hop off the boards here. Definitely not a members bounce for North York in their own rink. Joey Campbell, easiest goal he'll get all year. 2-2. Unfortunately for the Muskies, that was as good as it got. 12:15 mark, Joey Maziarz floats it in. Austin Brimmer tips it home. Joey, by the way, leading the team in scoring as a defenseman. Impressive. Cole O'Hara gets it back out front to Ashton Stocky. He bulges the twine. 4-2 Rangers. Third period, all North York. Sweet no-look pass here by Tyler Flack from behind the net to Brimmer. Just unfair. Rangers fully in control, up 5-2 at that point, and they weren't done yet. Nicholas Schuck, the itchy trigger finger here. Quick shot. Rips it past Buchholz to make it a 4-goal bulge for North York. And then in the last couple of minutes, gorgeous passing here. Tic-tac-toe. Brandon Yeamans, 7 points in 6 games now since being traded from Mississauga. The finish. Credit to the Muskies, who gave them a bit to ponder early on, but North York runs away in the end for the convincing 7-2 win. OJ Standings brought to you by Jostens, the official ring and awards provider to the OJHL. We start in the West. That little X next to Oakville's name means they have qualified officially for the playoffs. 71 points right now to lead the way out west. In the North, Markham, Aurora, Newmarket. That division is just a mess right now. As Alex Bloomfield said, that final 3 is going to be interesting to watch down the stretch. In the South, North York also has qualified. 19-point lead over the second place Patriots and Canadians, who are tied there. In the East, Cobourg now is a 5-point lead over Whitby, but you know the Cougars, Golden Hawks, and Fury are going to be jockeying for first the rest of the way down the stretch. Top 5 brought to you by Chaos, the official hat provider to the Ontario Junior Hockey League. In number 5, Georgetown and Wellington. Watch the pass from Jordan Crocker here through 2 sets of legs to Bailey Malala for the finish. Talk about feathering a pass. Nice one, Jordan. Number 4, lovely backdoor pass here by the Admirals. Vincent Bonaiuto on the doorstep gets it to go for the Admirals. Number 3, speaking of backdoor passes, number 3, top number 4, Oakville Aurora. Garrett Pike, the Tanner McEachern, picture perfect. And that proved to be the winner for the Blades on Friday. Number 2, Aurora's Joseph Mitzi, the OJ's goal leader, the OJ's points leader, and with plays like this, are you at all shocked? Coast to coast against Buffalo for the brilliant tally last weekend. And number 1, his teammate Luca Durante against Markham. 2 huge saves in one sequence. That one and this one. Lights out. Number 1 is pretty sweet. The second one, though, is just stunning. Pad down and then flashing the leather. That is our Chaos play of the week. And that is it for this week. Just remember, though, to keep up to date with the league, you can always head to ojhl.ca. And, of course, all of your social media options right there for you to check out as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.